Ladies and gentlemen, Ryan Divish, brought to you by the greatest bowling alley in the history of bowling alleys, Chalet Bowl. Washington's oldest operating bowling alley, proudly serving the community since 1941, located in Tacoma's historic Proctor District. Family owned and operated for 40 years, delivering top-notch customer service and a unique 12-lane experience. Check out chaletbowl.com. As we share it on our screen to book your next reservation, experience the best in local fun. Like the hours are there, the prices of the bowling lanes, all of it. Chaletbowl.com. Ryan Divish every single Wednesday with us talking off-season baseball. We like to call it the cold stove. Div, it's been a minute. How are you? How was Thanksgiving?
It was good. It wasn't anything too special, but it was good. You know, it snowed and it was cold as balls here. So,
what's the temperature right now in Howard, Montana?
It's warm today because we're hitting a heat wave. It is 31. Feels like 25. But everything's starting to melt, so that's good. Tomorrow or Friday, it's going to get up to 43, and Saturday 49. But it's going to get back down again. It was we had some below zeros earlier this week, and it's just like.
Do you go outside, or what do you do?
Yeah, I mean, I had to go outside and shovel snow, so I have some lined pants that are, and all this other stuff. It's like my friends just call it just cheeks because you're freezing your ass cheeks off. But yeah, it's not even the worst part. It'll get worse before it gets better, but you know, it's part of what you sign up for. Also, you know, it's $2 beers at the bar and gas is $2.99. So I mean, I can't really.
Yeah, but this is that we're in bourbon. We're in bourbon time now.
Oh yeah, no,
it's too cold to have beer. We're straight.
Oh no, I mean beer is like an appetizer. But yeah, I know. I got some stuff. You know, my buddy Dan, who's a liquor rep in Auburn area. He hooked me up with some stuff that I took back. You know, yeah, it's never a bad thing.
Lost my address, Dan. Come on, Dan. Yeah, send it my way.
He's a good guy to know. I'm really impressed with this. You know, being able to scroll and show articles on the video feed.
Sure.
Did you spend your Thanksgiving working on this? Have your daughter teach you how to do this shit?
I did. Exactly right. You want me to promote your work? I can do it there too. I can find
I haven't written anything really good lately.
You've done nothing.
I've written stuff, but it's just nothing interesting. You know,
it's all interesting. Are you going to the winter meetings? They start Sunday in Dallas, right?
I am. Yeah, Adam, Jude, and I are both going because they're doubling up and really, honestly, like even like the position previews and the coaching staff stuff, people are still reading about the Mariners. I think because they're pretty polarizing. You know, I just mentioned this to Jude and Daniel Kramer and those guys on a text thread. It's just like, you know, they announced these promotions for like in-house promotions for like Andy McKay and stuff a few days ago. And then even like Greg Green, who's like the nicest guy in the world, gets promoted to Kevin Martinez's job. And
salt of the earth, Greg.
Yeah, business side, you know. And then today they announced promotions for some of their baseball nerds in the baseball ops thing. And I'm like, it's just, and I thought to myself, like, I get why they're doing it and they want to be transparent, but it's fodder for the lunatic fringe to just like complain on Twitter. Like like Mariners PR and Mariners, like anytime they post anything, it's just like, sign somebody, do something. You guys suck. You know,
I wouldn't want to be in charge of the Mariners Twitter account.
No,
I just would not want that job.
I'd rather take a colonoscopy than do that. You know, it's like jump in a bathtub full of razor blades and dump rubbing alcohol.
Well, think about it. They'll send out this stuff, right, about all these promotions, which is great. I mean, it's fine, but they still have yet to say, "Hey, our president is back."
Well, I think that was technically Kramer's article that Stanton told him that. But,
but still, nothing like a big, you know, post is what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I understand why they don't, but
yeah, I mean, like. There's just there, and really, and I heard you. I was actually listening to your daily puck drop with Jim yesterday. When you're talking about Coug fans that want to fire Dickert. I'm like, are you serious? Like,
They're out there
fucking serious? Like, yeah, they've had a bad season. They haven't played well, but like this guy, like borderline to tears for this team. He stuck around. he sits there and he tries to fundraise. He goes out. He's more visible. Like everything about Leach, the kind of and not to speak ill of the dead, but like there was a lot of phoniness about Leach when it came to how he handled himself in public.
Yeah.
There's nothing phony about Jake Dickert. I mean, like,
he cares.
If you don't want him, we'll take him. We'll take him in Montana. If you don't want him,
he cares, and it's. Listen, there's bumps in the road. I think for anybody, it's his first gig.
The Cougs they have loft issues, just like the Mariners. Yeah. Loft, lack of fucking talent.
Right.
That's what it stands for.
All right. So can they improve that talent? I want to get to that because the winter meetings are going to start. They haven't done anything. It's been kind of quiet really on the front, although we'll get into Blake Snell and Juan Soto. Let's start first with the news with Kevin Seitzer, new hitting coach. What's Edgar's role going to be in all this, and then the credentials that Seitzer brings now to Seattle?
We kind of talked about I think a while back during right at the end of the season, like Edgar's role is like the director of hitting strategy or the overseer of it all. He's still going to have probably more influence than he did before. Even before when the old regime was here, Edgar was still at almost every home game pregame, but he would leave before the game because he didn't want to stay and watch. I think now he'll be at more home games. He'll be there longer. He'll still oversee the overall hitting philosophies that they're trying to input to all these guys. And I think the one thing is like he's still going to travel some. He'll still be around. And for the center fielder, that's kind of a big deal. I mean, like we saw the impact he had on the center fielder. We saw the impact he had overall on the whole team, but the impact on the center fielder matters. So I think that's the big thing. It's like, okay, he's overseeing it all. And then Kevin Seitzer and then the other guy that they hired who worked with him in Atlanta, they'll implement the program a lot, especially on the road, the day-to-day work. Because like I think everybody has kind of different ideas of what the hitting coach does and doesn't do. But a lot of times it's just being there, doing the drills, making sure they're recording everything, helping analyze all this stuff and then building a game plan. Edgar's over there to see the overall approach of it all. So I think, they'll have other guys as well, but it's a good hire. Seitzer's been around. He's worked with a lot of teams. I mean, worked with the Braves last year and last 4 years. I mean, can't complain about their offense. I mean, the only reason they weren't very good this year is because all their guys got hurt.
But why did he not come back though?
I think it was a mutual parting of ways, or as I joke with Kramer that Jared finally drove a hitting coach away because he was so psycho, but I don't think that's the case. I think it's just like sometimes after a while you make a change because you need a different voice, different message.
Okay,
kind of stuff.
We there's always a comp, right? When we like football, right? Mm-hmm. Ryan Grubb's philosophy is this, or okay, what's his philosophy? Does he have one?
Kevin Seitzer, I don't.
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't think there's like any overriding one. I think from what I've read and stuff, it's mostly just, hey, have a plan when you go up there, have an approach, understand what you're looking for, but at the same time, be aggressive, hit it hard. That's one thing. Like you look at the Braves, they go after pitches that they know they can hit. They attack the fastballs. I mean, like for a while there, like Acuna and Matt Olson, Albies, they were really hammering pitches. And I think that's a big thing. Sometimes it's, like I said, the different messaging, but it's simplifying maybe a little bit more. And from what I've heard, his approach is maybe a little more simple in terms of like what you're trying to do at the plate versus maybe what Brant Brown was. And like we've said before, Jarrett DeHart was more of the swing mechanics guy, not the approach guy. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if Seitzer really, there's only a few different ways to teach the swing, although Aaron Judge's private hitting coach is totally insane on Twitter and screams at everybody. But I mean, like, I think Seitzer does a pretty good job. I've covered so many hitting coaches. At the end of the day, it's like,
my favorite was Paul Molitor's 1 year stint.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, is it the putter or the person putting it? Like, I mean, like, guys like that. I used to joke with our friend Trace that used to
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
I think he had like
I
30.
still know him. I don't.
I know.
I
Like,
used to.
I didn't know. I didn't know if he's locked up in the pen for
Yeah, he
gambling.
could be. I don't know. He could be
But
for
like,
sure.
I felt like Trace was a 300 different putters guy because
Oh, yeah.
because he had no touch. I mean, like I played basketball with him. It was just like playing with Kevin Shockey, just barreling Indy and everything. But like
Yeah,
I
the
felt like
shortest backswing you've ever seen for a guy who hits it a mile straight.
yeah, but I feel like he was a guy that blamed the putter all the time,
Right.
like
Yeah.
blaming the batting coach for the hitting issues. No, it's not the same. It's not. It's. I think that it'll be fine. Like I thought the coaching staff was pretty much the same. That I didn't anticipate a ton of changes on that. I most of the guys were already really tight with Dan Wilson before he even took the job. So,
Yeah.
and Carson Vitale was really close with Scott, and then, and I think he was looking elsewhere, but also the opportunity to be a bench coach and not a coordinator in Miami intrigued him, and I think he's pretty good friends with the McCullough guy that was hired there.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's always turnover. I think the big thing is that they didn't lose Trent Blank and Pete Woodworth to somebody else. They were under contract. They didn't lose them. They kept Perry Hill around. I think you're going to need that for Austin Shenton and some guys. So no, pretty static.
What is Shenton's role?
I mean, so it's funny. Like I just was talking with Jude about this because he just wrote that thing about Alec Bohm and the Mariners that Philly's asking for Kirby or Gilbert for Alec Bohm. I'm like, are they on drugs?
Yeah.
But what Shenton will be kind of a depth piece. I don't think they're projecting him to be in the everyday lineup or even on the big league roster right away. But like he does have the ability to hit. I watched him hit a ball over dead center in Cheney Stadium off of George Kirby on a 97-mile-per-hour fastball. I mean, it was tanked. He can hit. He's just not very good defensively. I don't know that he's a third baseman anymore. Everybody thinks he's a first baseman. I think he's more of a depth piece. But like if you look at what Alec Bohm has done, he had 2 really good months in his career to earn an all-star thing. And the rest of the time, it's been pretty middling to poor. His defense has regressed, everything else. So 2 good months. I mean, and he's getting more expensive. I just don't see the draw and all that. There's a reason why the Phillies are getting rid of him.
Right. Yeah, that's the red flag to me. That to me is the biggest red flag. There's a reason they don't want him around anymore.
Yeah, and I think, he's had some issues with Philly fans, all that other stuff, but they're looking around saying, well, we can do better than this.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, I don't think that the Mariners should be dumpster diving for players. I think they should be making trades. And if they wanted to trade for Alec Bohm but give up a prospect, that's fine. But you're not giving up a big league piece.
No. The Rojas news surprise you that they didn't tender him?
Somewhat. Like,
Is it just a salary dump?
Yeah, and I think they felt like they could find somebody commensurate out there. And if you look again, a lot like, and I put it in my story, Rojas had 35 games of being really hot, and then the rest of the season he was 185, 221, 3 something. That's not what you want.
Yeah, great hair though. Great.
Oh
hair.
yeah, I mean, like and like, but you need some production from those positions, and $4.5 million for a utility player when they're already giving Dylan Moore 3. I just think like they can get that contract. I mean, like if they really wanted to go back to Rojas and say, hey, look, we'd like to bring you back, but we'll give you a couple years at $3 million a year or 2.5, and we'll give you some stability. We'll do it that way, but we're not going to give you $4.5 million for 1 year when we don't even know what role you'll have on our team right yet.
What about this? And hopefully I'm pronouncing his name. Hoysung Kim. What's the deal with him? He's posted today, I believe. Second base, shortstop, outfield, 26.
Yeah, it's like the Korean Joey Cora, light hitting.
Is he regarded as the Korean
No,
Joey Cora? That's awesome because I'm going to start calling him that now.
No, I was just trying to think of like a light hitting second baseman, from back in the day that can run, can bunt. He's good defensively. I mean, he represents an upgrade. I mean, like if you got him, you could ostensibly, throw a platoon in there with Dylan Moore and get Dylan Moore as ABs there when there's a lefty up.
And they've been linked to him, correct?
Yeah, they're going to do their due diligence because I don't think it's going to cost very much. He's not a premium player. He's not like Ha-Sung Kim from the Padres, who he would be if you got him to play second base. Although he might be better defensively than JP, though he's had some shoulder issues. You got him, then that's a little bit better. That's a pretty good upgrade, but that'll cost you some money. And I think he had the qualifying offer. So, it's I mean, I heard a lot. So I was gonna text you because I was watching NBA Inside the NBA,
Yeah.
and Barkley was calling Buddy Hield a jag, just another guy. And I mean, that's a big, it's just
that is a big, yeah, that's a big middle finger.
yeah. I mean, and that's Jags, Jags versus dudes versus studs or whatever you want to call it, but. Bob Condotta he's just a guy, he won't say another. He's just a guy, but like, I don't know that Hai-Sung Kim elevates from a jag much because the batting quotient is there, but he'll put the ball in play more as low strikeout guy again, but that's against Korean pitching where you're not seeing the premium stuff either.
Have they been linked to Sasaki, the Roki Sasaki, the young fireballer who's not going to cost anything, which is just amazing. I mean, you get him for nothing. For how long do they get him for nothing?
3 years, I believe.
3 years. Okay.
Yeah. 3 years of typical club control, I believe.
Does it make sense to get him?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. They should absolutely get him. Then it's like, okay, then you don't feel so bad about trading one of your pitchers if you had to do it that way. Okay. Like, I mean, like, even Luis Castillo, you don't feel bad about trading him. With the problem which you run into by trading a big league pitcher is that what you're going to get for like let's say even if they wanted to trade Luis Castillo, what you're going to get for Luis Castillo is probably a 3-WAR player at most, maybe a 4. For what Luis Castillo is a 4-WAR, 3.5, 4-WAR pitcher. Performer most years, so it's like you're not really making yourself better. So yeah, they should look at signing Roki Sasaki because he's young, he's really talented, and he doesn't cost you anything. They'll have to wait. That's going to be the interesting thing, and something we'll probably talk about at the winter meetings is just how the pitching market is going to work because Sasaki is out there and because he's not going to sign until after January 15th, so he can get the maximum amount of bonus pool money. Because this international signing class is already spoken for.
What's the bonus pool money?
It's like you get it's like draft pool. You get a certain amount of money.
Yeah, but how much money is it?
I think the Mariners have like 6.7.
Yeah, okay.
It goes
like 7.5. Okay,
and maybe it's more than that. Yeah, it goes in relationship to how bad your season was. So, so the teams should
have lost more games.
Yeah, the teams that were really bad. Tank for. Saki for Roki. I don't know, but so they don't. Saki? Yeah, that's Kaz Sasaki. He liked the Sasaki.
Oh yeah, really? You don't say.
Yeah, my mom's maiden name is Sasaki.
Yeah, I don't like Saki. Do you?
No, it's terrible.
I just don't think it's good. My wife loves it. Gets it every time. I'm like, it's terrible.
No. Yeah, so they'll make an effort. They'll make a pitch for him because even if you got him and you wanted to keep your other starters intact, Japan runs a six man or they go every 5th or every 6th day. They have the extra day, so you can modify that right away, or you can trade him. But and I know you're going to mention Snell. To me, the Snell contract is crazy time.
It's unreal.
I mean, like Scott Boras wins in the end. It's like the house in blackjack. It always wins in the end. Scott Boras wins in the end. But what I do think is the crazier contracts are Frankie Montas 1 year for $17 million. And that guy's been hurt a ton. Matt Boyd 2 years at how much? Like that market of the kind of 4 and 5 starters. If you're telling me that that's what the market is and people are going to pay that for Matt Boyd, then how much is Luis Castillo really worth? And all of a sudden, $22 million is not that much. Or 3 years of George Kirby.
2 years.
Yeah.
$29 million for Matt Boyd.
$15 million, $14.5 million. Okay. So you're telling me and he's probably a 4 or 5. I like Matt Boyd, nicest guy.
Yeah, 100%.
But 4 or 5, been off injured. So you're telling me George Kirby is going to make 4.5 this year? And he has 3 more years after this year?
Yeah.
So how much is George Kirby really worth then? Logan Gilbert at $8 million, if he gets $8 million this year, plus 2 more years of club control. So let's say even if Logan Gilbert added $6 million, which is a lot to each year. So he went from 8 to 14 to 20. That's still only, that's not significant per AAV compared to what you're paying Matt Boyd.
And a contender will gladly take that.
Yes, exactly. I mean, and a contender would take Luis Castillo at 25. or
That's what I'm saying.
22.
That's what I'm saying. They would take Castillo in a trade if he waived the whole thing and agreed to do it. They would agree to do that. Yeah, I saw that. I got back, and I think I was still away last week when I saw the Snell news, and it popped up on my phone, and I'm like, he got what?
Yeah.
It blew me away. I never thought he'd get that. And I mean, good for him, man. But 5 years, 182. That is unbelievable. You're right, man. That agent just wins again.
I mean, Snell, by the time he actually collects all the money, it will be like living back in Shoreline and being like a professional Xbox player. But like, be out there, bro, man, like when is NCAA 2033 coming out, But
He'll probably pump it up in a Seattle Select. I know. I got a couple of my son's buddies that play up there. He'll probably pump all that money into that.
Well, I heard he's trying to build a facility that's bigger than Driveline for Seattle Select.
Hey, Blake, can I bring my son up there, please? Yes.
Hey, can we get an invest? Can we do a little? Can I be an instructor? Maybe social.
Yeah.
So no, I think the pitching market, and that's something Adam and I were talking about, was just like we have to rethink what the pitching market is already because of kind of what guys have signed for.
Yeah.
And then you have the Sasaki quotient out there. There's still, Walker Buehler is still out there. I think, the Mariners are in a good position where they certainly don't have to settle for Alec Bohm if you're giving up a real piece. Like you can ask for real stuff from teams if you're going to do that, even if it's Bryce Miller or Brian Wu, you ask for real stuff because the market is proving to be very expensive. And I think also what pitchers are doing, none of them want to be like Jordan Montgomery, where you wait so late, or even Blake Snell, wait so late and you're not in a camp. They want to be ready to go.
We talked when we did our big roundtable show, the 2.5 hour roundtable.
The one you tweeted about a couple times.
Well, I had to promote it. I did. Now, listen. In fairness, listener and viewer, I texted all these guys and said, "Hey, forgive me. I'm gonna blow up your Twitter, your Twitter handles because I'm gonna promote this show because I want people to sign up on the paid site." And I did tell you, I'm sorry. You're like, it's okay, but I felt bad. When I scheduled all these when I left, I thought, God, this is gonna piss them off because it's like every day I'm sending one out, and I did.
I mean,
I felt bad.
It wasn't like that Mariner Muse account that's got 4 people tweeting from it. So, I understand it's one guy you're trying to make some money.
It felt a lot. I know.
I was at one point, I wanted you to just like put some headphones on me and do a selfie up close and say the grind is real. Or something.
I know. I felt like I'll be honest with you. I felt like when I did it, I knew it was necessary to do, but I felt like a real big douchebag.
Did you make some money off of it though?
Yeah, we've made some money.
I actually got to subscribe just to
go ahead.
I mean, I subscribe to Capel and I don't really even read that much about the Huskies. I mean, I do, but like I really do it for his betting picks every week.
He's got great picks. I subscribe to Capel. I love Capel. He's great.
He's a really good writer. Like
he's fantastic.
I wish I was as good of a writer as him.
He's good. His show that he does with Danny's good too. Like he's a good.
There's a fair amount of snark. He lives in the 253.
Yeah. A fair amount of snark. There's a lot of snark.
Yeah, he's
got a lot of snark to him.
I know he's committed. You have to have him on just so he can do his imitations.
Oh, the softies.
Softy. He does a Percy Allen that's really good. He does one of me. He does one of me where I just ask random like statements.
Does he do? I can't remember.
He used to do a Bob Dutton. He has a Bob Dutton.
I know, but remember we put him on. We made him like dance for us one time. Didn't he do a Greg Johns?
Oh yeah, he has a Greg Johns one too. He has a Greg Johns. He actually has a Condotta one where he's like puts his head down and he'll just go like, DK Metcalf.
The Greg Johns though, because you always have to do the Greg. If you're watching, where you have to hold up, you got to hold up the
notepad with the recorder underneath. Well,
So third inning. Where do you think? A couple of rapid fire before you go. Juan Soto goes where?
I think he'll end up with the Mets.
The Mets for what? 650?
750 probably. I mean, like, screw it. If you're going to play, just do it. I mean, like, the Mets were right there last year.
God, that's a lot of money, man. What do you think the Mariners offered?
I can't even
hold on, let me honest. Do you think they honestly, at any point in the offseason, before got together with John and where Jerry and Justin went up to him like, what do you think we could offer?
I mean, like his contract, I'd rather pay him the 750 million than invest in the Hatback Grill right now.
Yeah,
You know?
I'd pay. That's why I want Adamas. I'd pay Adamas the money.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like if you could really convince Adamas to play third, I mean, he says he will because he's not very
I'd
good
play him at shortstop, and I'd move the other guy to second.
I don't think I think JP's a better shortstop than
Than
Adamas.
Adamas?
Yeah.
But what if Adamas?
Adamas plays indoors. You know, that's another
Yeah.
thing. He played indoors. I mean, like I'm always leery about guys that put up numbers in the NL Central. Call it the Winker Wong effect.
It's fair.
Know?
That's fair. That's fair. That's fair.
But yeah, I mean, like I'm not really anticipating a ton of stuff to happen for the Mariners. Anything. I mean, I think they'll sign Turner or Carlos Santana.
You think they sign both?
No, one of them.
Just one of them. Okay.
It's like the Latin version or the red-haired version of your, like who do you want?
Yeah, I think it's. Would you lean towards Santana?
I think so. Because I don't. Yeah, I don't think he costs as much. I think Turner's going to wait and weigh his options because maybe like there is a way for him to get back to the Dodgers or whatever. You know,
he wants to win. I think he wants to. He needs a championship, and I think he may view Seattle as not the team that's close enough to win a championship. The golden at bat rule. Thoughts?
I think it's idiotic. I mean, it's like idiotic. Like
it's one of the dumbest things I've ever heard in my life.
The rate, and I know it was LA versus New York, but the ratings were sky high for the playoff or the World Series and for the playoffs. I think the pitch clock has fixed a ton. I think the ball strike rule, the automated ball strike rule, where you can challenge balls and strikes, will make things better. I think it's been better. I think they're tinkering too much, you know, but I think it's fine the way it is, and I don't think that'll ever happen.
When is that this year or when is it?
ABS? Years? I don't know. I think they're going to do it this spring, and they're going to test it this spring where you can challenge.
Yeah. So they did it in the minors, right?
Yeah, in AAA. So one of my favorites is Curto called me one time. He goes, Kelenic was just starting to scream at this umpire about a called strike, and umpire points at his AirPods. But then the other one was like, you know, when they had the rule like in tennis where you could protest the call. Yeah. He only got like 3. And he goes, that Cooper Hummel guy would always protest the call like on a 3-0 count with nobody on in the first inning or something like that. And guys would get mad.
I love it. So, give my best to Curto. That's a great great run for Curto.
I mean, like, how do they not hire him? How do they not hire him to replace him? Like, because like Goldsmith, from everything I've been told, Goldsmith is going full-time TV, which I think he's great on, you know, and I think.
That's going to break my heart, though.
I know, because you like radio, but I think.
Well, I do, but I love him and Gary Hill together.
Well, I know,
love it, but
yeah, well, it's because it's all inside food jokes and
it's just funny. They're good. They're funny, and they play off each other great. And I mean, I hope it opens up more opportunities for Gary to do it on radio. I know I'm biased because we went to school together and at WSU, but I mean. I want Mike to get a chance. I think good to get a chance. I think when I get really disappointed when guys bust their ass for this amount of time in all these industries, and then just waiting your turn and like give him his turn.
Like I talked to him about it, and he wouldn't let me really write anything on it because he's a pain in my ass. Because he actually told me a few weeks before it came out, and I was just like, "Hey, are you going to apply for it?" He goes, "Well, yeah, I'll talk to him. I'll listen." He goes, "But I'm not going to like go out of my way because I think he's tried several times and they told him no." Yeah. And he told me one year, sadly, I think at a blackjack table in Vegas after watching Cal. Oh my God, the Cal lost last night, by the way. But watching Cal lose in the Pac-12 tournament to Stanford, he's like, "It's just never going to happen for me in this organization," and he goes, "I'm too old to go searching around and move." But like guy knows a ton about baseball. He knows a ton about this organization, and I think he'd be a good fit, even if it was like a part-time. If they didn't want him to do if they wanted him to come in and do 50 games. You remember that one year when they rotated with Kim Levine and Fairley and all those guys? Bring him in. Good. Let him have some retirement and everything like that. But I'm hoping he gets an opportunity. I don't know. I'm not in great favor with some of the higher ups in the organization, so I don't know that my endorsement would actually help him. It's like anybody that wants to get hired at the Times and ask me to be a reference. I tell them, you want to get hired, right? You don't want me. So Hey, Puck, I gotta ask you,
Yep.
have you watched Landman on
Yes,
Paramount
love it.
Plus?
Here's my only yeah. Here's my one. I'm over Yellowstone. I'll finish the thing,
Yeah,
but I'm
yeah.
not going to give any spoilers away for people,
It's
whatever.
dumb.
It's stupid.
Yeah.
They ruined it, and I don't know who to blame, but whatever, you ruined it. Now, his best show that he's ever done, this Sheridan guy, is Lioness. That's the best one.
You think it's better than Mayor of Kingstown?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I just that is but this Landman, I was like, well, I'll give it a shot. My only knock on Landman is his intros to all the shows. The music is great, except for that one.
Yeah.
Like that, it's awful. But the Billy Bob is unbelievable.
He is.
He is and then the daughter is my second favorite character.
You're just hoping your daughter never acts like his
Well,
daughter.
when she says the line when they're at the football game,
Oh yeah, about birth control.
I've just let him spray all over me, Daddy. I'm like, oh my God. I couldn't believe they actually uttered that line on the show. He is phenomenal.
And his wife, his ex-wife played by Ali Larter, who was the
great
whipped cream girl in Varsity Blues.
I love how she FaceTimes him all the time.
Yeah, she's straight out of Central Cast. Because I've been to Texas, and they're like that's straight out of Central Casting. Like the character, like some of this stuff might not be real, but the characters, they're real, and like how he is. I mean, it's funny though when you see him, he is.
I'm only through
old.
like 2 episodes. I think how many have there been?
4. He is so old, and he has no ass to fill out his pants. Like when they show him, he's so skinny and gross.
I just love that he just drink. What does he drink? Mick Ultra.
Yeah, because he says there's no alcohol.
There's no alcohol. When he's at the bar and he's like, keep him coming. He's like, I don't drink anymore. He's like, sir, you've had 6 of these. Like, this isn't alcohol.
He goes, you want me to crawl into a bottle of whiskey and see what you find out?
Yeah, it's really good. I didn't know what to expect about it, but so far so good. You know, that dude. I don't know that guy. I don't understand how he has like that Sheridan? Much in his brain to write.
He's really prolific, and he's like yoked. He's yoked.
Huge.
He plays that, the asshole cowboy on Yellowstone and Travis or whatever. And like,
he's in this season of Lioness early on.
Is he? Yeah. I mean, like he loves himself, but also like, have you seen that movie he did, Hell or High Water, where they're the 2 bank robbers in Texas?
Oh yeah. He did that.
Yeah.
That with
Jeff Bridges as the sheriff.
Yeah, Jeff, and then the who's the young guy? Yeah. That's
Chris Pine is.
That's a great.
They're bank robbers in Texas. Yeah, he did that too.
Oh well, that's why I like it. And I know why. Look at this. We're going to call this the Landman episode. All right. Ryan Divish with us every Wednesday during the offseason. Cold Stove brought to you by Chalet Bowl, Washington's oldest operating bowling alley, proudly serving the community since 1941, located in Tacoma's historic Proctor District. Family owner operated for 40 years. They got top-notch customer service, a unique 12-lane experience. Check out chaletbowl.com to book your next reservation. All right. We'll follow you along in Dallas. You'll be there for a few days.
Yeah.
When are you back?
Flying back Thursday night. So.
Okay, well, we'll adjust to your schedule.
I mean, if you want to do it in Dallas, you can. I can, I still have a rant about how much I hate Christmas. So, that one's
perfect. We can get to that. We'll get to that next week.
All right. Sounds good. All right.
See you, buddy.
See ya.
There he is. Ryan Divish, Seattle Times. Follow him. Get all the updates on the winter meeting starting Sunday in Dallas. Ryan Divish with us every Wednesday. If you got into the episode late, full episode up on YouTube will be up later. Please like and subscribe. Subscribe. Don't like. Well, you can like it, but subscribe to the YouTube channel, please. Also, you can listen to it later, Apple, Spotify, wherever you find your podcasts. Of course, always up at pucksports.com.